things in with him today.
All right, we're live.
Welcome to our media briefing today and access through the internet. We encourage those who are watching to send in their questions. We'd be happy to address those questions. We'll start first with media questions this morning or this afternoon.
What's on your agenda for caucus today? We're gonna try to just get through as many things as we can. The caucus is starting to get really busy. We're gonna be talking about medical marijuana, a potential bill that might be coming out. It isn't drafted yet, it isn't public, so I can't talk about it, but I think we're gonna get a briefing on that today in caucus. I'm sure we're going to be talking some more about Medicaid expansion. That's also on the agenda, and we're now into where, if we have time, we're going to get into transportation. Some of the bills that are starting to get ready to come out or have come out now on transportation funding ideas. So it's just kind of a matter of how much time we spend on each of these issues before we get to the next one. Just a lot of things that we're discussing right now in caucus. So,
Who is doing the medical marijuana bill?
Senator Manson's going to be briefing us on it. And I'm not sure if he's a sponsor or if someone else is, but he's going to be briefing us on it today.
No story on that, I'm sure. Any other questions?
You had a chance to see Representative Christensen's bill in the House on religious rights protections. Have you seen that? It came out yesterday.
I have seen it. I have not digested it personally.
It's fairly broad in scope.
Have further knowledge of that. I don't know if you've dove into that at all.
Yeah, I've looked at it. And I think there's been a lot of reports on it. He I think tries to protect. I remember the term in it. Was it everyone? What was his?
Yeah, I think it was everyone. It didn't carve out any specific groups or anything like that.
And that's surely one way to approach it. So I've seen it.
I guess my follow-up question would be, it doesn't contain the terms sexual orientation or gender identity. Are those phrases, are those words necessary in any bill that comes forward that's specifically spelled out as not discriminating against sexual orientation, gender identity in housing and employment? Does that have to be specifically part of a bill?
Yeah, I think we're trying to work through a process and hopefully be as inclusive as we can with everyone. I think at the end of the day, as we mentioned before, we want to make sure we get it right. And LeVar has one idea. I wouldn't say anything is required in any bill. I think what's required is that we try to get as much as we can a bill that protects both those with religious liberties and those that need protection for housing and employment.
My question would be is, how involved was the LGBT community in that bill? And I think
They've
that's a
come out
great
opposing
question.
it so far, so.
And Senator Backus is here. We could ask him that question. We're talking about Senator Christensen's, or Representative Christensen's bill that came out yesterday.
It's terrific. It is terrific to have that bill out there. There it is sitting. It's the big enchilada, and there it is. It's laid out there, and it explains a somewhat, in my opinion, questionable view of religious liberty. But it's out there. It ought to be part of the discussion, and I'm happy to have it there. It'll be on the spectrum. For me, it is a little difficult to ingrain in our Utah culture, but it's out there. It's part of the discussion, and this ought to be a big spectrum of discussion.
So just, I've had, how involved, or was there any involvement from the LGBT?
In the bill?
In the drafting of that bill?
No, he didn't ask me again, so I was a little disappointed, but it's
But you or anybody else in?
not that anybody we know of, no.
Okay.
And would this come down to how everyone interprets what the church is saying in the statements? Is that what this is going to come down to? Obviously, there's different ways to view and read into what the church said, and so I'm just curious if that's what this is going to come down to.
Yeah, the church has made a statement, and the legislature, through our process, will try to figure out what that all means, whether it's the big enchilada or the
Little
taco
tacos.
or the chips with cheese on them.
And Senator Backus said it right. I mean, the process is to be inclusive. And Representative Christensen's view of it is one view. And I think as we move through the process, we'll probably get more views than that. And I don't think the process is ever well served by being exclusive and not looking at everyone's view. So I think we've got one, and we'll probably have others.
I'm tremendously optimistic. I think really serious people are having a lot of serious discussions. I think things are being tweaked, and the sausage making is going on. That's the way it ought to be. It's good for the process. It's good for the state, and I really believe that we're going to have a great moment. And if we don't, then we roll up our sleeves and say, well, we didn't get there this year, but let's see what happens next year. So I'm just incredibly optimistic, but I am about most things, and so I think we have momentum to pass non-discrimination and religious liberties in a way we've never had before, and it's good for all the citizens of the state.
So, Senator, are you hungry? Sausages. Okay.
Could we have this other than at lunchtime?
You say sausage.
All right. Other questions?
Several of the bills that deal with last year's SB 54 are starting to kind of make their way through. I think there are two from the Senate that should be on the floor any time now. And then there's a couple in the House even that have popped up. What is the general feeling on those bills as they are right now? Like them, not like them, that kind of thing?
It depends on who you ask. And there were a lot of legislators last year that didn't vote for SB 54, and the legislature made a decision. There was a looming citizen initiative, and it was a grand compromise. There's a new House leadership this year. There are a lot of new members of the legislature that didn't even vote on that, so I guess we can expect that there'll be challenges to that. And but my personal belief is that we did strike a grand compromise, and I'm going to live up to my commitment to try and maintain that compromise that we came up with last year.
Let me get a little more specific then. I guess first, has the caucus talked about it at all? Especially I guess I'll start with pushing it, the bill that basically pushes the implementation of it back a year. Is there been any discussion on
2
that?
years.
There has not.
Or two, yeah.
We briefly talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Knew that there were some bills coming forward. At that time, we didn't have, I don't think the bills were numbered out. We had a brief discussion about the ideas, took no positions in caucus. I think the president's statement is really good, that there are lots of people with different ideas, and again, this is one of those things that's going to go through this legislative process. We're going to debate it. We'll have a day, I'm sure, where we're going to be talking about it in caucus and kind of get a feeling from where our caucus members are. But at this point, we're just waiting to see what all comes out, if they get through committee and get to the floor, and then we'll probably have a discussion in caucus.
Senator Jenkins' bill that got amended, substituted in committee, is on our board at the second reading calendar. Other questions? Any questions from our viewers?
No, sir. Not today.
All right, well, thank you very much for being here. Appreciate your participation.
Let's get some blueberry pie.
Or more sausage.
Too much sausage making going on around here. Too much behind the scenes.
I think it just gets worse. Yeah, that's a